Ag Week Weather is sponsored by Bremer Bank. Connect with a banker today at bremer.com.
Will March come in like a lion and out like a lamb? Here's John with our Agri-weather outlook.
March weather rolls along, and as we all know, March weather in the Great Plains and Upper Midwest does have a strong tendency to be highly changeable, very volatile, and that's exactly what it's doing. This time we're headed back into colder weather, especially across the northern parts of the region. And as the weather turns colder, it does bring up the distinct possibility that precipitation in March falls as snow instead of rain. I'll show you where that's most likely. We are dealing with an upper level ridge over the western North America, and then a fairly deep trough. Now, this looks impressive, but actually this air is not all that terribly cold for the season. It's colder than it's been over much of the latter part of February and the early part of March, but it's just not that cold. The northern branch of the jet stream is not terribly strong right now. The subtropical jet, in classic El Nino fashion, is much stronger right now. It does look like we get a little bit of a modest break from the cold through the early part of the week as the flow briefly goes zonal, but a new trough forming out in the northern Canadian Rockies will likely reinforce the cold air, at least into the Dakotas and Minnesota, especially North Dakota and Minnesota, back into Montana as we go through this week. Now, meanwhile, down south, a bit of a lull in stormy weather, and it looks like pretty warm temperatures. A lot of 70s and 80-degree type weather will build up through the south this week, which will be kind of a pleasant turn for them as the southern states have had a fairly cold winter this year. No real hot weather, some 80-degree heat down in South Florida, South Texas, and the usual spots in the southwestern part of the country. As we transition from this first week into the last week of March and the second week of the forecast, we get to see the dreaded split flow pattern out of the northern jet stream. Now, there will be an area of low pressure in here and a weather system, but the split flow nature of the jet stream would probably mean this will not end up being a major storm. Still, when I show you precipitation in just a minute, you'll see what's happening from that. As we go on through the week toward late March, tendency is going to be there toward the flow going more west to east or more zonal, and the temperatures turning a little bit chillier. Now, as far as precipitation this week, a lot of it in the south is going to be in the form of rain and showers and thunderstorms. There will be some areas of rain showers coming up into the Middle West and the Great Plains and the Northern Plains, and that will likely transition over to snow in the far north from a weather system coming up sometime around the end of the week. Now, exactly how this lays down is indeterminate from my perspective at this point. Probably not super heavy precipitation in the northern plains. Second week, same thing. Most of the significant moisture will be down south with lighter snows north.